Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your good friend Joe. Today I just want to talk about, recently I finished my first ever Imperial Fist models I have ever fully painted. If you don't know, I am working on currently my Imperial Fist Horus Heresy Legion. I just finished my first ever painted models for them, which are the Cataphracti Terminators you can see up on screen. And I just wanted to talk about my experience with it, giving you my thoughts and what I would change differently and how I felt about the techniques I used painting them. Hopefully this will help someone for their first time painting yellow or Imperial Fists. So for these guys, I used a combination of Duncan Rhodes and Richard Gray's techniques mainly. I took elements from them both, definitely leaning more on Richard's Gray method, but I also just kind of used those as influence and did what I felt was right. And honestly, that's how I would recommend you paint, especially something as complicated as yellow, but really anything, because the way that's best for you will always end up looking the best when it's you painting it. Now, I did a lot of research into Imperial Fists before I even begun to paint these guys. Techniques on how to paint them, I watched tons of videos on how to paint yellow and Imperial Fists. Techniques on battle damage and specific things I knew I wanted to do, how to use decals, and also even the Legion's lore and their heraldry, because I wanted to get these guys perfect. I am a massive fan of Dorn and his Legion, and I wanted to bring him glory through my paint jobs. Now, I'm by no means a great painter. I do like to think I'm a pretty good painter for a 15-year-old, but still by no means a great painter. I feel like just about anyone could do what I did with these Imperial Fists. These guys were just a test scheme, or not a test scheme, but this is my first time doing it. I was experimenting quite a bit, and I am quite happy with how they came out. And I am currently also working on Tactical Marines, and I'm very excited to see how they will come out now that I've kind of honed on a little more to how I should properly do these guys. So you're probably asking at this point what technique I actually used to paint these guys. So basically what I did, and I will make a full-length video at some point when I feel I've gotten it better and more precise, but I sprayed with Gray Sear, and then I did another very, very thin. There's a lot of layers on these guys, so make sure to keep your paints as thin as possible. A very thin a second layer of Gray Sear, just to make sure it has an even coating. And the reason I did that is for the contrast paint. Now, if you don't get a 100% contrast paint, don't be too worried. That will get hidden or fixed later. So I did the Imperial Fist contrast paint, by the way. Then I did all the other colors, the metallics, the black, the trim, all that. Then I went back with another layer of Gray Sear, cleaned up the paint slippage, and then went back over with the yellow, so it was yellow again. Then what I did was I took Dark Oath Flesh and Contrast Medium. I did a contrast wash over them, and at that point they were pretty much done. Just did some battle damage and added the blood on them, and that's pretty much everything I did. Again, I will do a much more in-depth video on how I did it, but also if you want to watch something now, and quite frankly it will probably be better than my video, go watch Richard Gray and Duncan's video. I also recommend Valrak's video. He does a very good technique on how to paint them, but it does require Lamenter's glaze, which is hard to find. I had a lot of fun painting these guys. I'm used to painting for my Space Marine and Imperial Knight schemes. It's all black, red, and blue, and while those are colors I do quite enjoy painting, and that's why most of my stuff is those colors, it was refreshing to paint with mostly lighter shade with still some of that black that I enjoy painting with. they were very refreshing to paint, and I think I'm going to flip-flop between painting one thing and then painting the other from now on, and I think that'll be a good way to keep me enthusiastic about painting, because it won't get repetitive, which is an issue I had with painting knights for a while. I'm not gonna lie, these guys were pretty nerve-wracking for me to paint. I shouldn't say pretty nerve-wracking, but I was concerned that they would come out looking completely horrible, and I am definitely happy with how they came out. The reason I painted the Cataphractes first instead of Mark 6s, even though the Mark 6s are most definitely a much easier model to paint, is because the Mark 6s are actually tests. The box I got, the Age of Darkness, has 10 of them. I built 5 before I had done enough research into Cataphractes. I'm going to make the other 5, Huskarls, which are Dorn's Praetorians, and they're also more black. They got the same color scheme as the Templar Brethren, and so for my just normal Legionnaire Terminators, I'm going to use all Tartarus armor. But these guys I had built before I had done research into the Huskarls, and I want to kit bash them or convert them to have power swords and the Imperial Fist shields. So I said, well, realistically, I'm not going to play with these guys much, which is actually a lie. I've already played with them. I used them as a 40k Terminator proxies in a boarding action game. So I figured if they come out horrible, it won't be as much of a loss. So yeah. Overall, I did have a lot of fun painting these guys. I've already had a lot of fun painting the Tactical Marines I'm working on right now. For anyone who's on the border of getting Horus Heresy and maybe even starting an Imperial Fist Legion specifically, I would highly recommend it. Not too many people are playing it, but if nothing else, you can use them as proxies for 40k, or even just take them as relics in 40k, and you have an awesome-looking army. The stuff from Horus Heresy just looks incredible. I would say Age of Sigmar definitely has the best models when it comes for painters. I would say 40k, or 30k, sorry, is a close second to that. But anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Pretty experimental, but I enjoyed making it, and I enjoy talking about my process. So thank you for watching, and have a good day.